this is Cristina Dam, and this is Liberate the Podcast, where we educate, motivate, inspire, and liberate your consciousness. From spirituality, holistic healing, to creativity and conscious business, we've got your mind, body, and spirit covered. Hi there, welcome to another episode of Liberate the Podcast. So today we get to learn and discover James Bene together, and we're going to talk about intuition. And he does intuitive circles, he does life coaching, he does one-on-one sessions, he's done retreats and a whole bunch of different stuff. So I'm excited to dive deep into understanding who is James and everything that he does with intuition. So everybody, welcome James.
Hi.
Hi, James.
Hi.
Now, I know a while back you did an intuitive group circle with us here. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that's more of like a mediumship type intuition circle where everybody gets to ask questions and have healing and transformational work happen at once.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, besides that, share with me a little bit about what do you do overall? Who are you? And then, if I have your permission, I want to understand how you got to where you are.
Of course, yeah. So I was born in Hoboken, New Jersey. So I'm a Jersey boy.
Okay.
And I guess I could start at the beginning in a way that ever since I was a child, I definitely had these kind of extrasensory perception experiences. And when that happens, when you're a little kid, it's pretty frightening.
So now, these ESP experiences, what were they for you as a child? Because I think a lot of times people throw that terminology and there's a different understanding of what, and there can be so many different experiences that happen. So what was that for you?
It started in my dreams. Actually, at first I would have these like really vivid, wild dreams that I would wake up just screaming in the middle of the night. And I would have that periodically, and then from that moment, I started to have things of that nature happen in reality. So like seeing dead people and kind of stuff like that happening in my bedroom at night, hearing voices, having like out-of-body experiences, a lot of weird stuff. I think that when I was a kid, at that time, there was a lot going on in my home. So what I'm feeling happened was at a very young age, I learned how to meditate.
Okay.
Just to kind of go inside and just be with myself, even though I didn't know what I was doing. And from there...
Well, you didn't, but maybe you did.
I did, but yeah, exactly.
You were guided.
Yeah. And what I feel from there, it just kept keeping my, third eye open. Mm. My awareness kept growing. And then as soon as I knew it, I was seeing things, hearing things, having visions, and as a child, things like that are not fun. I was terrified.
And was there ever a period of time when you tried to block it out, tried to get rid of it? And did that last for a certain time, or did you always just allow it to be?
No, I did not allow it to be.
Okay.
I think when I went to later in high school and college, I definitely blocked it out. I went to performing arts school. So I'm a singer-songwriter, and I, was pursuing acting, and I did work in that field, and I just put all my effort towards that. I was like, I had one-track mind. I'm gonna be famous. I'm gonna be an actor. I'm gonna be a singer. I'm gonna work on my music, and I kind of just allowed that to just go in the background. I would have moments of it. Yeah. But I think I just was embarrassed by it, and I just kind of wanted to keep it to myself. I didn't want people to make fun of me or think I was weird. Until honestly, my senior year of college, it started again. And I started to get major anxiety and all these weird feelings that I used to have as a kid kind of all rushed back really quickly. And I didn't really know what to do with that information at that point. Yeah. So again, I kind of stuffed it inside. But what was happening, especially after the years after I left college, was I started to get really depressed. I started to get really anxious. My emotional state, even my physical state of being just started to diminish and deplete.
Okay.
And I went to some dark places, but I always feel that from the dark comes the light, and that's...
the dark night of the soul.
Exactly. I sat in that for a while. But from that, I was kind of called intuitively to see a spiritualist and a healer in New York City. So her name is Kelly Piper, and I studied with her for a while, and I, received healings from her, and we just she was almost like a spiritual therapist,
Yeah.
But one of the things that happened was she helped me really realize the gifts that I have and not to be afraid of them and to use them to help the greater good of myself and everyone else around me. And then something happened. Spirit rushed in and I wasn't afraid anymore. And I was like, James, you have to do this.
Wow.
And so that started the calling. And at that moment, I kind of put acting and some of that aside. And I just focused on my spiritual development and training so that I could become a healer and a guru for somebody else.
Wow. So what do you think that your biggest gifts are?
God, that's hard. I'm totally not egotistical at all. I feel like
there's certain, whether you call it, that are a little bit, the certain elements, like, whether do you hear really strongly? Do you see really strongly? Do you have really strong communication with the other side? Can you, kind of tap into people's energy and really shift those blockages? Like, what are your strong suits as you dope? And, you say these words gifts, and I'm just trying to understand more specifically what they are.
Yes. Mind you, when I say gifts, I feel everyone has these abilities somewhere, right? They can be cultivated if they are not present, and then some kids kind of carry it with them from childhood, right? But I would have to say that one of my strongest gifts is a deep sense of knowing. I just feel like I was even, as a child, just knew things about spiritual law, about universal truth, about God. I just had this knowing about the beyond and the superconscious mind. And I feel like that has helped me so much in not only understanding myself, but understanding other people and how to help them and how to heal them. It's almost like I could look at someone and know immediately what this person needs. And then I will open myself up to the beyond. And I hear a lot, and I'll just get those gut feelings, like I'll know something. And I'm not the strongest in clairvoyance. That's my, I guess, weakest clair. But lately I've been able to tap into that as well. So I will see pictures or get visions.
You said you were, a musician and a songwriter, right? So we have these modes of how we operate and how we relate to the world, and people, walk into the room, and some people hear what's going on in the room, and they get that. Some people walk in and they can have a feeling, and is the room comfortable? Does it feel rough? Does it feel whatever? Some people walk in and they're like, oh, this looks amazing, and it's like there's different ways of how people relate to the world, even on a conscious level. So it's always going to make sense that there's different levels of how somebody would activate their gifts, right?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, that's absolutely true. When I teach intuitive development, one of the first exercises is doing a meditation, opening up all the senses and seeing which one is the strongest for you, which one are you most connected with. And yeah, like you said, it really depends what they do for a living, or if they're musicians or artists or creators, are they visual people, are they more thinkers, Yeah. And so I always say whatever is the strongest, that's what you would focus on trying to develop the most. You know?
Well, it's the path of least resistance,
Yes. Yeah, that's why I make it hard. Right?
Yeah.
Be easy with yourself.
And so you dive deep into the journey of really working on yourself, getting yourself out of this dark night of the soul, we'll call it, and stepping into these power and these gifts. When did you start doing it for others?
It was a pretty quick progression. It was kind of like once I was like, I'm ready, it started to come pretty quickly. I went and did some trainings, like I'm a Reiki master as well, and life coaching and these other kind of things. I read everything I could, get my hands on. And once I started to do that, I was like, you know what, I'm ready. I kind of waited until I was a Reiki master, because at least then I had something, that I could say, okay, well, I'm a Reiki master. I have the little certificate. I could then see people and feel okay, right? That I have some type of piece of paper that says I can do this, even though I know that that's silly, but that's what I needed then.
Yeah, we all need what we need, right?
Yeah.
And so whatever that known is, or that thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And once I had that, and I kind of went through the levels pretty quickly, And then I started, the first thing I did, I remember, was I just, I printed something out, like a flyer. I don't even know what I called it. I think I called it like urban healing. I don't even know. I just came up with some name. And I put a picture of myself and like the things that I do and what I can offer, like Reiki, intuition, like find your soul path, whatever. And I hung them up around town. And I got a phone call. So it was really like insane. And it was this woman, Lorraine, who's one of my dear clients now. And she came to me. And at that point I was doing it in my home, like right in my apartment, and I was so nervous. I remember just being like, oh my God, is this really right? Is this what I want to really do? Am I going to help this person, And she walked in and she sat in front of me and something just happened. I don't know. It was just like that moment had happened a million times before in my life. So that was it. Once that happened, it just started rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really did. I feel like I didn't have control of it.
Now, what type of information do you get? Because there's so many different types of intuition or clairaudience that, and different guides, spirits, different realms that people tap into. First off, I guess, before even that, whom are you getting your information from? And what is the type of information that you're getting?
Primarily, my information comes from source, or what I call source.
Okay.
So I call source, or I feel source is the highest, most vibrational being there is. So resonating with the Holy Spirit or the Christ consciousness.
Okay.
So, I go straight to the top,
Okay.
if I can. Below that, however, I do connect with a couple guides.
Okay.
That I have. One appears as A.
Okay.
It's just A.
Okay.
And he
AA.
I'm
A
like,
there,
that's
don't
fine,
you know? Almost
right?
like now that Canadian.
Exactly, A. And he shows up as more of like an Indian.
Okay.
Almost like a Native American kind of looking guy. Then I also have like a Hindu kind of essence as well. And then another go-to is Archangel Raphael. I tend to always feel the presence of him around me as well.
Nice. So all different types of belief systems, and you're pulling in different guides and from that. Now, and then what is the type of information that you get? Is it more, conscious wisdom? Is it more psychic and specific? Is it, what is that for you?
I would say it's a mix. Definitely the psychic stuff will come in. An easy example of that is I'll think of my mom and I'll be like, oh, why do I feel my mother right now? What's going on with her? And then she'll call, right? Yeah. And I know a lot of people, that's like a common one. That's why I say a lot of people have that happen in their life. And that's your intuition kicking in, right? Gut feeling, your clairsentience, like kind of coming out. But when I channel and I really do the work, and when I do that work, I consciously do it. Like I clear my space, I prepare myself. There are steps to opening my intuition. I don't walk around like a light bulb that's on constantly. I would
You short circuit.
I would not be here right now. So I say I do get conscious wisdom.
Okay.
I will feel and understand like conscious truths about the world or about the mechanics of spirituality or spiritualism or the inner workings of the universe. Kind of, and it comes to me in math, which is
interesting. Really
interesting.
Or not. If everything's an equation, right?
Exactly. And the ultimate truth is an equation. And I feel that's what I get from my guides, is that we are in this matrix, this mathematical matrix.
Yeah, the Fibonacci sequence, it's like everything, spirals and the equations and everything boils down to it, all the sacred geometry. It's all... math equations. Yeah,
it really is. That's the truth. I really believe it. 1 + 1 = 2, and that's the ultimate truth. And if there's anything that is not that, it's a cognitive distortion.
Yeah, where
and
they say that
crazy.
They say that the book of the Torah is all of an algorithm.
Yeah.
And they can find they can put it into a computer program and find exactly every leader and country leader from different nations. And they can find they said that there's even the assassins from different presidents and their names and birth dates and death dates, all when they do the mathematical equations on it.
I believe it.
It's fascinating.
It's fascinating.
Because then it makes me think, like, do we even have any free will? Like, then I go down that rabbit hole because I'm like, these people's birthdays and death dates are written there in the Torah once it's put into this, algorithm.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff can blow your mind, actually.
Yeah.
I think that the study of spirituality and universal truth is important. But I think the other aspect that is more important is that we are here. We are humans having, spirits having this human experience, to be human. And so I think a part of us needs to shut off our brain in that area. And I say, you know what, let God handle that. And we are here to project God into our lives, into our relationships, to our well-being, into our work, and be in the world and do in the world. I always tell my clients who are like, oh, I should be meditating more. I need to meditate at least an hour a day. And I say, well, you know what? The Buddha did that for us.
Yeah.
How can you take that as an example and cultivate it and then get out and do?
Yeah.
Instead of meditating, maybe try to get more people to meditate, spread it.
Yeah, or even there's so many different forms of meditation, right? There's active forms of meditation, walking meditation. There's, and maybe it is part meditation is the traditional sense, and then part the, integration.
Exactly. I think it's all, integration's an important word.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's I get stuff like that, which blows my mind sometimes. I'm like, what am I, and I have to question myself. Is this me? Is this something else? As intuitives, we are constantly questioning ourselves. It's an insecure profession sometimes because you can feel crazy.
Well, you're picking out things and getting words from, things and beings that you can't see.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And sharing that with the rest of the world, right?
Yeah. So you're playing a game beyond conscious reason.
Yeah.
And, some people are into it and they get it and they're about it and others aren't. And I say, everyone do you, right? But the other types of messages I will get are really to help people. I feel like my strongest messages are when I'm working with someone, connecting with someone's energy, reading their energy, seeing what's going on with them. And that's when it's the strongest because I just feel that's when, like, God, or whatever you want to call it, descends upon us and it's like, all right, James, let's heal this one. We got to do it. We got to help them. We got to heal them. We need the light workers. We need everyone to move through the world right now and spread some kind of light and love, because we're in a little bit of a dark kind of place. So I feel like when I'm with someone, that's when it really kind of opens fully for me.
Got you. And when would you say that, when would people come to you and who would come to you?
I have an array of people. It's like I have people who come just because they want to hear about their life. They want to hear what's to come as kind of something fun or entertaining, and that's cool. I'll work with people like that. It's totally cool. I have people who come for real, like, deep healing reasons, whether it's to heal trauma or whatever is going on in their life. So I do have those clients as well. I have clients that just buy into this whole world, and to them it's just like going to church, or it's like going to, the gym. They want to know, they want to be there, they want to hear from their spirit guides, they want to connect in that way. So it's like really the gamut of people.
Yeah.
And it's cool. I love working with newbies, people who've never experienced like intuition, or I just think it's so fun to watch someone like hear things for the first time.
And then they pop like popcorn. They're like, whoa.
Exactly.
And I want to touch back on healing. Okay. So I know that you mentioned a little bit on trauma, and you mentioned also on, people being light workers and put them back out into the world. Like, when you mean healing, what do you mean exactly by that? And what are you kind of working on or shifting for somebody?
Sure. Healing is the need to transcend into a lighter space, right? We all have to. We all do. Sometimes consciously, sometimes subconsciously, like in our dream states even. So to me, if someone needs healing, it's that they are not directly aligned with their greatest good. That something is like off, like the vibration isn't quite there.
Yeah.
And they just need a little bit of a kick
Kind of push
and a push to get there. And a lot of times it is, getting over trauma or getting over past fears or anxieties, depressions, bipolar, things like that. And other times it's just life path. Like people are like, man, I don't know where I am. I feel lost. I feel confused. And they just need to understand how to kind of get back into the groove of that.
Yeah.
So, and I call that healing. I call everything healing.
Okay.
Anything that's disaligned that you want like aligned is healing work.
Yeah. People, I mean, a lot of times the people that are listening to the podcast for the most part are already somewhat on the path. And sometimes people are stumbling upon this for whatever tag word stands out to them. But, there's a large kind of umbrella of what falls under healing. So I was seeing on, what that meant,
Yeah.
that's why I asked.
No, it's
and there might, for the new people, I like when they hear the word heal, sometimes people just think of, heal from something physical, right? And but most of the things that you were stating and kind of going over were a lot of emotional, a lot of energetic, a lot of those types of vibrations. So it's driving the point that this is for everybody at different times.
Yeah.
It's about pushing you further ahead, or even, I like to look at healings as activations too. So some people could be doing great in their life, but why not get to the next round, right? Why not move up higher? If there's some, residual things, or if there's a way to integrate a higher vibration, you're going to experience the next level,
Yeah.
and then the next level, and then the next level, which will continue to go indefinitely because the universe keeps on expanding indefinitely, right?
Yes, exactly.
So
Exactly. You go from, I always tell my clients or anyone, how wonderful is it to go from a place of excellence to a place of genius?
yeah.
Yeah, that's possible. You don't have to just sit in your excellence. You could find that genius. There's always another place to go.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, always, for all of us.
No matter how young, how old, how whatever, wherever, and that's the beauty of, I think, when people work on themselves, it's realizing that change is still possible. There's so much energy around the ability to change and transform and to evolve when somebody's young. But, and when I say young, I mean still child, teenage, maybe even really early 20s. But it's like realizing that level of transformation and change and evolution is still happening even to 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even into the hundreds, and every day is this new experience, and every moment you can learn and grow. And I think when people give themselves permission to work on themselves, they give themselves permission that they can change, so they're not stuck at their identity of what they carved themselves out to be.
Yes.
And then if they can change and they can see that their life can change, then they realize that they can try new things. They can go into different professions. They can learn new subjects. They can have different hobbies, and that it doesn't matter where they start. Right?
Yeah.
I think so much I see this paralysis that happens in people of I never picked up tennis when I was younger, so I can't just start playing today. Who says? You might actually become one of the best tennis players at your,
really.
It doesn't matter, right? And it's not just about hobbies, it's about everything, right?
Yeah, across the board. You said give yourself permission to heal and grow. I have found that it's find self-worth, that you're worthy of living an extraordinary life, and that you're worthy to heal, and that you're not your limiting beliefs. The mind is a very tricky thing.
The mind will either be your biggest cheerleader or your biggest defeat, and everything in between,
Absolutely. So it's kind of getting out of that ego mind or that monkey mind, the chatter, into God mind or God thoughts. I always say there are two kinds of thoughts: God thoughts and non-God thoughts. God thoughts are the thoughts that make you feel good, that bring joy, that cheer you on, that heal you, that love you. And non-God thoughts are everything else. So it's challenging.
Yeah. I mean, the average person has 65,000 thoughts a day. And almost 90% of those thoughts are identical from the day before. And the majority of them are all negative.
Yeah, that's sad.
And it's, it's sad, but it's also, without friction, there is no motion, right? And that there's some things that we're constantly overcoming, and people say, exhausted, I'm constantly throwing an obstacle. But maybe that's getting you to the place of meeting somebody like you to work and get to the next level and make things easier, to open up a channel for spirituality, or to gravitate to that connection so that people can unfold in a better way, in an easier way. I always say that the biggest difficulties in one's life always lead us to the biggest gifts.
Yeah, absolutely. I say light and dark exists the same, they're the same level. And sometimes, something will happen in your life that is perceived as very dark or very negative or is just horrible. But I say that God sometimes wears a costume, and comes in as scary, and it challenges us and it scares us. But as you said, you're very correct. It pushes us forward.
Yeah.
Look, people don't like to change sometimes. We're creatures of habit. And if they need to, something will come in to get you to move.
Yeah. And a good example of that is something like, let's say somebody gets fired from a job and then they feel like, oh my God, poor me, I can't believe this has happened. But when you really examine, were they even happy? Did they always have an ambition to do something else? And now being fired from that job gives them the opportunity to do and pursue something else. And, maybe that needed to happen in order to have that happen, right? Or sometimes when a relationship ends horribly, but maybe it wouldn't have ever ended if there wasn't some big thing like infidelity or this or that that caused this ruckus to say, fine, cut the cord and move forward, right? So it's, was that evil, was that darkness, or was that God wearing a costume? I like what you're saying,
Yeah. It's like the Tower card in tarot. It's just some things have to explode before they start to come back together, and that's the way it works. For me, personally, I used to wait, oh my God, worst procrastinator. I'd wait for the last minute to do something. I would wait till things go wrong or the crap hits the fan before I would get that fire and that motivation. And I realized at one point, I was like, wow, I really need the struggle. I need the drama in order to move forward. And that's not cool. And I was like, James, you don't need drama in order to make change. Yeah. Change can come out of love, And so you cultivate that self-love for myself. And now I don't wait anymore. I do when I feel. I'm not going to wait until my wings are clipped, in order to learn how to fly. I'm like, damn, I have the wings now. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, but sometimes those people need those wings clipped.
Yeah.
And then, or they need to be pushed.
Or they need to be pushed right off. Yeah. Yes. And we've all had those moments, I'm sure.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Now, James, where can people find you?
Under a rock in the desert. No, I'm kidding. My website's benimudra.com. So I started a business called Bene Mudra Wellness, and I've been doing that for the past 12 years. It's kind of, I am Bene Mudra Wellness, but I also house other healers under my umbrella. And lectures and workshops, and I teach all over, East Coast, West Coast. So everything's under the umbrella of Bene Mudra Wellness. So pretty much, if you want to find me, go there, and there I be.
There you be, there you be.
Yeah.
And occasionally, maybe here too.
And occasionally here and there in other places. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. And if you had to leave people with something, what would it be?
Trust in your instincts, because they are true. Gut feelings are real. And if you live by those gut feelings, and you trust every gut feeling you get, every gut feeling is like a breadcrumb to me on the ground. You have a gut feeling, you do it. It's like picking up a breadcrumb. And you pick up one breadcrumb, 3 others may appear. One gut feeling achieved is 3 more. And you just keep moving forward like that. Like Louise Hay says, she's like, they're like, Louise, how did you make your life your life? She's like, I opened the mail, I followed through, and that's it. So follow through, just gut feeling after gut feeling, and your life will be easier. It will be easier. So trust in yourself and trust in the universe. I'd say that would be my lesson for the day.
I love it. Trust in yourself, trust in the universe, and follow those breadcrumbs to lead to more breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful, because as people tap into accepting and trusting their self, they can trust their self more.
Yeah.
The more they trust their self, the more they allow their self to be their self, and there lies the happiness.
Absolutely. Authenticity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Yes, such a pleasure. And hopefully we'll have him back talking a little bit more. The next time, if you mention this podcast, that the next time James does a workshop here, we can offer some kind of code, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
That you mentioned, like some kind of call to action. So we'll update if there's another class coming on. So depending on what time you watch this, and otherwise, till next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this conversation, like it, subscribe, and share it with your friends. If you want some more amazing resources on your path of liberation, head over to liberateyourself.com and sign up for our mailing list. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram at Liberate Hollywood, all one word, or Liberate Emporium, all one word. Until next time, liberate yourself.